Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So yesterday we were looking at how the Atman is separate from the pot, the waters contained in the pot, and the reflection of the in the waters of the pot. All these three. मृत्कार्य भूतोपि मृदो न भिन्नः कुंभोस्ति सर्वत्र तु मृत्स्वरूपात् न कुंभरूपं पृथगस्ति कुंभः कुतो मृषा कल्पितनाम मात्रः. So here भिन्नः here he says even though the pot is a modification of a clay, it is not different from the clay. Throughout the pot, clay alone is present, and we gave other examples also. Throughout the specific form of the wave, the water is present. Throughout the specific form of the ornament, the gold is present. Similarly, through the specific form of the pot, the clay is present. Exactly the same way, through the specific form of this human being, human body, the same reality is present. So you think it is blood, sinew, etc., etc., bones, bone marrow, etc., but that is, we'll talk about it, but actually it is nothing but the reality alone. So why it is called a pot? It is only a superimposition. It is only a name, imagined name given to the reality. Now you look at yourself in this light of this verse, that we are calling ourselves a person, and that person is only an imaginary, and actually it is only the reality. So once you take this position of that everything that I consider myself to be is imaginary in the relative sense, then the whole relative world stands null and void, because the whole relative world is standing only on the foundation of this identity that I am the body. If you drop the body, nothing is there. केनापि मृद्भिन्नतया स्वरूपं घटस्य संदर्शयितुं न शक्यते अतो घटः कल्पित एव मोहात् मृदेव सत्यं परमार्थभूतम्. The teacher Adi Shankaracharya says, no one can show by any means, by any ways, that the essence of clay pot is other than clay. And no logic can prove that the gold is separate to the ornament or the water is separate to the wave. This is the first. This is the point that is made by him. Therefore, the pot is merely imagined through delusion. Because our attention is not on the substratum, our attention is on name and form. Name and form itself is, we should say delusion when we say forgetfulness of the gold is leading to the acceptance of name ornament. Forgetfulness of water and its nature is leading to acceptance of the wave. So also forgetfulness of the consciousness that we are, the Atman that we are, the infinite self that we are, is leading to the acceptance of the body that I consider myself to be. And clay alone is the enduring reality in the clay pot. So what is that which is the enduring reality in this pot of the body? Consciousness, Atman as existence. When we, with reference to the body, it is existence. So in this manner, we must bring our attention again and again to this Atman. Very important point here is that if we want to know the truth, until and unless there is complete integrity of our being, till then realization will not, I shouldn't say realization will not happen, because realization is always. Then what? Till then what will not happen? Till then the ego will not dissolve. The dissolution of ego, or I should say, the establishment of the ego is due to non-integrity. And integrity means the ego dissolves itself. And so and how does integrity come about in a seeker? Integrity, again, yesterday also we said it, we'll say it again. Integrity, synchronization of our nature, that is of the mind with the reality, then the integrity comes, synchronization comes. But if the mind is thinking about the world, about the relative, about the variety, this synchronization or integrity cannot happen. Very difficult. Not difficult, it is impossible. Sadbrahma karya sakalam sadevam tanmatrametanna tatonyadasti astiti yo vakti na tasya moho vinirgato nidritavat prajalpaha. So too the entire universe being the effect of real Brahman, just as if gold is the cause, ornaments are the effect, and so on. Clay is the cause and the pots are the effect. Similarly, Brahman is the cause and the entire universe is the effect. If we want to speak about it in a relative sense, actually speaking, there is nothing but Brahman alone. There is nothing but gold alone. We are calling it by different names. There is nothing but the water alone, but we are calling it by different names called waves, tide, etc., etc. There is nothing but mud alone, but we are calling it by different names of pots, big pot, small pot, fat pot, thin pot. Same way, we are calling the whole world of variety, but actually it is nothing but Brahman, the pure consciousness alone, the reality alone, and nothing else. So the whole world is of that essence, and just as an ornament cannot live separate from the gold, the pot cannot live separate from the clay, similarly, the world cannot live apart from Brahman. The relative cannot live apart from the absolute. It is one and the same. It is part of there is no separate existence of the relative, of the specific from the non-specific. And If anyone is saying that the God, Lord is separate, that we cannot become one with God, that we can only serve the God, it is very difficult to realize, I don't know when will I come to know the self, mind is a big difficulty, I don't know if self is there or not, because yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha, the words cannot reach it, the mind cannot comprehend it, you say all these things and then how will I come to know it? That is how this topic began today, 3 days ago. That he has come to a zero and he's saying, how will I come to know the reality now? So, this is the situation, that if he continues to be thinking in that manner, what is that? That the Atman or the self is an object of experience. It has to be experienced by the mind, and I will remain after that union. I will remain there to communicate it as an experience. Such a person is still in delusion. Recognize this. So here he says, Vinirgato nidratavat prajalpaha. He's just talking for the sake of talking. He's fumbling because he's still under the delusion. And he's like a one who is, here the word he has used is that nidritavat. Nidritavat, like one in deep sleep. Doesn't want to wake up. You wake up, we all have gone through those stages when we are young. The whole house is on screaming, but you can't hear because you are so deep in sleep. Similarly, even if Mahatmas are coming, scriptures are coming into our life, satsang is coming, still we don't want to wake up. Still we don't want to live a disciplined life. Still we don't want to be attached to that supreme reality and live life guided by that supreme reality. See, such people are living in deep sleep. Brahmaivedam vishwamityeva vani Shrauti brute tharvanishtha varishtha Tasmad etad brahma matram hi vishwam Nadhishthanad bhinnataropitasya. The teacher Adi Shankaracharya says that surely this entire universe is nothing but that supreme reality, the Brahman. This is the declaration of the Atharva Veda. He says, therefore this universe is Brahman alone, for a superimposition has no existence apart from its substratum. What is superimposition? That which appears but actually is not there. And what is substratum? Which is always there. Substratum is permanent. Substratum is the ingredient out of which all appearances happen. So what is that ingredient? Clay is that ingredient out of which all pots happen. Gold is that ingredient out of which all the ornaments happen. Similarly, Brahman is that ingredient out of which the whole universe of specificity happens. But where is this specificity which seems, or we take it to be so real and live only completely enslaved by that specificity? It is existing in its own absence. Name and form is existing in its absence. The substratum is constant. Therefore, the universe is Brahman alone, for a superimposition has no existence apart from the substratum. Now, we want to live with the superimposition as the real, or we want to live with the real as real. We want to live with the superimposition called the Panchakoshas as real, or we want to live with the Atman as the real. We want to live with this world which is nothing but a superimposition on the reality and take it as real, or we consider the divine as the real, who is the substratum. See? A doctor, when he is operating, he has got no problems when he is doing operations for others. But the moment he sees his own family coming on the table and he is standing there, his hand starts shaking. Why? He's got identified with the specific. It is my wife or my child or my father. Other times there was no my, it was just no doubt. So wherever we get attached, there the doubt comes, there the disintegration happens, and obsession with the name and form begins. So where the other people he was operating were not names and forms, they were also name and forms. But there's no obsession, there was no identification. But here it is. When it comes to someone who is a relative, and this way come to recognize that you are the all-pervasive consciousness, and that this world is not apart from that consciousness that you essentially are. Satyam yadi syat jagate tad atmano. Okay, what is the tune? Satyam yadi syat jagade atmano anantatvaha nigama pramanata asatyavadittvamapi shitu syat etatrayam sadhuhitam mahatmanam. He says, if the universe as it is real, the self or the Atman would not be infinite. The scriptures would be false. So what is our praman? How do we, what is the word?
Shastram Praman.
Praman, what do you call? Authority. So what is the authority by which we take that the world to be an illusion, and that which we can't see in this world to be real? What is the authority? Scriptures are the authority. The saints and sages who have realized what the scriptures are saying is the authority. See, that is our only authority. Our authority is not what YouTube is telling, or Google Anandji is saying, or Wikipedia is saying. That is not our authority. Our authority is only the scriptures, the Shastras. So here he says, if the universe as it is real, the Atman would not be infinite, the scriptures would be false. Which world? The universe of names and forms. If we take it as real, then the reality, the Brahman, will become unreal. But that is not possible. We have shown you through logic right now. And the scriptures which are propagating the Brahman, the Atman as the real, then scriptures will also be wrong. The Lord himself would be guilty of having spoken the untruth. Because what are scriptures? The speech of the Lord. Then the Lord is also telling lies. The entire foundation on which our culture is based, Sanatan Dharma is based, and everything will be just torn apart. None of these three is considered either desirable or beneficial by the great ones. So the wise, they don't take the world to be real. They accept the scriptures. They don't take the scriptures to be false, and they don't say that the Lord has spoken the untruth. All these three, we have to. This faith has to be there. That what the scriptures. So, you must have heard it many times, that we have to have faith in the Ishvara. We have to have faith in the words of the Ishvara, which are the Shastras or the scriptures. We have to have faith in the Guru Maharaj, who comes into our life to explain to us the scriptures by which we can come to be one with the Lord, with the divine. And fourthly, we must have faith in our own ability to translate and be available to what the teacher is telling. गुरु गोविंद दो खड़े काके लागू पाए. हाँ, गुरु आपके गोविंद दियो मिलाए. So that is this thought. We have never seen the Lord. We have not understood the scriptures. By yourself, independent study of the scriptures, will never be able to understand. Then, when we want to understand, the teacher appears in our life. And when he acts as the medium, and he has got no axe to grind in life, he is only present in our life so that we become available and raise our consciousness from from the ego identified consciousness to independent consciousness. That's all his purpose is. And he is not, but the job is ours to become available. He cannot make us become available. He can present. And as we grow into what he has grown into and from where he is speaking. And this is Ishvaro vastu tattvajnyaha na chaham teshu avasthitaha na cha matsthani bhutani tyevameva vyachitrupata. So this is the thought which is presented, which comes in the 9th chapter, in the 4th and 5th verse. Maya tatamidam sarvam murtina. So that particular thought there, the Lord says, initially he says in the fourth verse, I think, 4th and 5th verse. So in the 4th verse he says, the whole world is in me and I am in the whole world. But very next verse he says this thought. What is that? That I do not abide, I am not in the whole world and neither is the world in me. The Lord is saying. Because it is not possible. From the absolute point of view, take absolute of anything. From the absolute clay or the gold or the water, from the absolute point of view, there is no variety possible. There are no pots possible, there are no ornaments possible, there are no the waves possible. Absolute is only aware of the absolute. It is only self-knowing. It is not knowing the duality. And therefore that statement. So first the Lord in Bhagavad Gita takes a lower position, and as he says, no yaar, neither the world is in me nor I am in the world, because I alone am. That was the statement there. And see, it is very difficult to digest this thought that the whole world is not in the divine and the divine is not in the world. It has, if you tell a common person, वो तो लगा हुआ है कि भगवान ने मेरे लिए किया, भगवान ने मेरे लिए वो किया, भगवान ने ऐसे किया, भगवान ने वैसे किया. Even in the way of communication, Swamiji also said, whatever the Lord wills. But does Lord will? That is the question. As long as we take him to be an entity, yes, then it will work that way. But can the Lord will? Because he is the material and efficient cause of the whole universe. He is the material. Can the water will? that a wave should appear or not appear. Not possible. From water's point of view, there is only water. Similarly, from consciousness point of view, there is only consciousness. From divinity point of view, there is only divinity. There is no what you call contamination of duality there. No contamination of specificity. Specificity only appears. Only appears. यदि सत्यं भवेद् विश्वं सुषुप्तावुपलभ्यताम् यन्नोपलभ्यते किंचिद् अतो सत्स्वप्नमन्मृषा. He says, if the universe were real, it would have been perceived even in deep sleep state. Since it is not at all perceived, it must be unreal like a dream. If it was real, it will continue. But what is our experience of life? Because scriptures are nothing but mirroring and representing the data in the correct manner what you are experiencing in the world. The world is the same. In the same world we are also living. In the same world the masters are also living. What is their vision of the world and what is our vision of the world? What is our vision? Our vision of the world is variety. And what is the vision of the great masters? Unity. Unity. And unity not unity that unity which is not versus variety. It is universal. That's it. And we have to raise ourselves to be that universal self. So here he says, if the universe were real, it would have been perceived even in deep sleep state. Since it is not at all perceived. What is not perceived? The universe is not perceived. You think you are seeing, I am seeing you, I am seeing you, I am seeing this table, everything. But everything is continuously changing. I can't hold on. And for that the example is given that I put my hand in the river water to catch the river or touch the river, but what I have touched is already gone. I can't hold on to it. Same way, even faster than that river, Ganga is this river of life, river of creation. I can't catch. But we live in this imaginary world. My house, my body, my disease, my health, my thoughts, my convictions, etc., etc., etc. It must, all this is just like a dream. Just like a dream appears but actually is not real. Similarly, this world appears but actually is not real. Don't give undue importance to it. अथ पृथङ् नास्ति जगत्परात्मनः पृथक् प्रतीतिस्तु मृषा गुणादिवत् आरोपितस्यास्ति किमर्थवत्ता धिष्ठानमाभाति तथा भ्रमेण. As we are coming to the conclusion of this thought, the Adi Shankaracharya says, therefore the world has got no existence apart from the supreme reality, the Brahman, and the appearance of its separateness, the appearance of its variety, appearance of its specificity is false like the appearance of the snake on the rope, is false like the appearance of a Mrugdrishna, is false like the appearance of the rainbow, like the blueness of the sky. All these examples are taken to show that that is not real. They are only superimpositions. Can a superimposition have any real existence apart from its own substratum? Can the blueness of the sky appear without the sky? Can the rainbow appear without the sun and the atmosphere there in that example? Can the waves appear without the water, etc., etc.? Similarly, our attention must go to the substratum, not substratum. Don't look for the substratum outside. When you look outside the substratum, what will be the substratum for you? Space. Space. When you look at yourself, the substratum will be the conscious self. बाहर आए देखोगे तो space, because what is that which is not changing in spite of the world changing? Space. बाकी सब तो चेंज हो रहा है. उधर भगवान तो दिख नहीं रहे हमें. We are not able to see the Lord. We are not able to see the Brahman. See? The approach here, when we are talking about what is Atman, the approach is inside out. So, can a superimposition have any real existence apart from its own substratum? Not possible. Can any specificity express itself without the substratum? Not possible. Can the ornament express without the gold? Not possible. Can the pot express without the clay? Not possible. Can this pot express without life, consciousness? Not possible. Come to this. These are all very subtle thoughts. We are saying it because we want to finish the class. but if you contemplate on it, it's really deep. Through delusion, it is the substratum itself which appears like that. In fact, it is only through delusion. Delusion means what? What are the different meanings of delusion?
Not knowing self.
Not knowing the self. One. Anything else? Non-apprehension of reality is leads to delusion. What else?
Thinking the world is real.
No. That reality of the world is delusion. So what is that you have forgotten because of which this delusion is expressing? Self-forgetfulness leads to delusion. Non-apprehension of reality leads to delusion. What else can we say? Anything? Any other word? Self-forgetfulness, yes. So not being the substratum. Now when we come to subjective, this is all subjective. Not being the eternal subject. Not recognizing yourself as the eternal consciousness leads to delusion. Because हम दुनिया को तो we cannot work out the world. We have to only work out ourselves. So who are we? Are we the specific or are we the eternal one? Are we the changing or are we the constant one? Are we the finite or are we the infinite one? This discrimination, this is the first point which is told to this qualification that a seeker must have. Vivek, Vairagya, Shatka Sampatti, Mumukshutvam. Vivek.
Can
This.
you be both?
What is that?
Can you be both?
What?
The one who is non-divisible and the one who is variety.
The one who is non-divisible and
The one who is in variety.
you will be perceived because people perceive the Mahatmas. But if your goal is the reality, to be the reality is to be the only one. There is no duality possible, there is no corruption possible, there is no division possible, there is no separateness possible. Because the moment separateness comes, I am me versus you, me versus the table, over. And so therefore, through delusion, it is the substratum which appears like that. So then what is the tod? What is the solution? It is because of the delusion that one reality is appearing as the manyness, then what is the solution? Solution is, rather than focusing on the manyness, come back to that one which is appearing as many. If a person is, the example here taken is snake and the rope. If the person has stepped on the rope, on the snake, because he is seeing the snake, and the snake lifted itself and bit the leg, and the person who is seeing the snake instead of the rope is feeling that he has been bit by the snake and not been scratched by the rope, gets the symptoms of a snake bite rather than just a scratch by the rope, and screams because of that experience. And one passerby, the Guru Maharaj, he says, "Arey Baba, this is not a snake, this is only a rope. If someone has to show you, because you are already in delusion." And the moment he sees the rope instead of the snake, all the symptoms of pain, of delusion, of fear, of ignorance, everything just washes away like that. Isn't it? Because he has woken up to the reality. Just like in the dream we are having some nightmare and we wake up, at that very moment the nightmare ends. Living in the delusion as a specific entity is a living nightmare. Get out of it. When? Not one day, right here and now. And in this manner, the last verse here says, Bhrantasya yad bharamata pratitam yad yad Bhrantasya yad yad bhramataha Bhrantasya yad yad bhramata pratitam brahmaiva tad rajatam hi shuktihi idantaya brahma sadaiva rupyate tvaropitam brahmani nama matram. He says, through error of judgment, whatever a deluded man perceives, what can only be Brahman and Brahman alone. The silvery sheen perceived is nothing but the mother of pearl. Brahman is ever present as this universe, and that which is superimposed on Brahman can only be a mere name. And in this manner, the teacher has brought the attention of the student. Where was the student's attention? On absence. And from childhood we have been programmed. Fear the dark. Fear the dark. So when we come on the seat of meditation to absence, everything has vanished. Now what? How do I come to know the truth? If he doesn't think about the truth, he will think about something, or something will come up. But he approached the right teacher. He asked that question to the teacher, and the teacher, through the various examples of ghata and specific and non-specific and etc., and telling the reiterating the characteristics of the Atman, the conscious self, brought the attention of the student to the consciousness, the witnessing consciousness first, and then told that this witnessing consciousness is self. The nature of it is self-knowing. The nature of it is Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swarupa. The nature of it is all pervasiveness, Vibhu, etc. And having told what is the nature of this self, then it was told that this self alone is all that there is. On this substratum of the self, the whole world is as if, very important, as if appearing and disappearing. That which is appearing and disappearing, the name and form, is unreal, and that which is constant, that is real. The example of Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti and Samadhi was taken. They come and go, and you are the continuous one, in and through as well as independent of them. Then, as the thought uh, went further, became deeper, then it was told neither the Jagrat, Sapna, Sushupti and Samadhi are in the self, nor the self is in the Jagrat, Sapna, Sushupti, Samadhi. Because these four, Jagrat, Sapna, Sushupti, Samadhi, this is the world that we have. There's no other world apart from these four. And so it was told that neither the world is in me, nor I am in the world. And then the attention was brought to us on the continuous substratum which can never go out of existence. And lastly, another example was taken, that of a snake and the rope, that is only because of the self forgetfulness that we see the variety of the world. Because we have forgotten the rope, we see the snake and go through the symptoms of the seeing the snake. But actually, it is only an figment of imagination of the mind, and mind has projected the snake where there was only a rope. Our mind has projected the world where there is only the reality and nothing else. Coming to ascertain our true nature in according to the scriptures in this manner will there will be no doubt left in the mind of the seeker, and he will not go into the wrong avenues of speaking that he is experiencing absence, he is experiencing void. Uh, all these type of thoughts appear only because we are not subjective in our approach. Now sit quietly for some time with this thought. That you are the constant one, not the changing one. And why we should accept that we are the constant one? Because the scriptures say so, and the great masters have experienced and validated what the scriptures say so. That we, in essence, are the constant one, the unchanging one. If any thought comes about the world, about the Lord, about the practice, about the breath, about the reality, recognize that thought by nature is changing. So don't give it value and credence and importance. Importance should be given to for whom is this thought, in whose presence this thought is appearing and disappearing. That I am. Slowly move your toes, fingers, shoulder, neck, offering the experience to the Lord. No memories created. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.